Hello, fellow duelists. This is Shadow of the Moon, and it has been a while, hasn't it? It has been a little over 2 months since I've done my last deck profile, and I just needed to take a break, which I will be definitely telling you right after I'm done with the deck profile and explaining to you a little bit more as to why I chose to take this very long hiatus, but it was something that was very necessary and important, especially for me to do. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and show off the new Bystial Blackwing deck profile for November of 2024, and as of right now, this is my main Blackwing variant deck. I love this deck to pieces. It is so good. Unfortunately, I was not able to include a lot of cards that I actually wanted to because I know Dominus Impulse and the new Mulch Army card that came out are hella expensive, and I don't know unless you are literally able to afford, probably about $750 for 6 cards, then yeah, it's not something that's going to be on my priority list. But I do tend to use this deck because this is kind of like, the next best thing. So without any further ado, let's go on and show you the deck profile. So you're going to be real excited about this one. Also, if you've noticed, I've got my 2 field centers. I love these guys. I love my Gale and the Blackwing Assault Dragon. That's really cool. And you also have the tuner. This is the Sudri token. I notice a lot of people do ask me where do I get this from and everything. Everything that I get that's custom is 9 times out of 10 going to be from Etsy. You just have to go into Etsy, type in token, type in whatever token that you want, and there will be a list of different things that you can get. So I would definitely check out Etsy because it is great. If you need proxies for cards until you're able to afford the real thing, that is also another option, another route that you can take, because a lot of the cards like Full Charmy, you can get them off of Etsy for very cheap, and their proxy you can play with your friends or whatever, if as long as you're not taking them to tournaments, or if you do choose to take them to tournaments, maybe you have a organizer that actually says that it's okay to use proxies depending on how expensive the card is. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this deck profile. So obviously, standard, we've got three Simoon. This is the most standard play that you can have, obviously. You've got 3 Sudri. Always good to have 3 Sudri. 3 Vata. And these are all going to be standard for the most part. Simoon is really good because Simoon will allow you to reveal Blackwing monster, banish it, and then you can summon this card using Black Whirlwind. Black Whirlwind gets played on the field. You summon this card, and you can get 2 additional normal summons for that turn. So you get this one plus another one, which would obviously be Sudri, and then Sudri searches for. So any Blackwing player that is worth their grain of salt especially knows that Simoon, Sudri, and Vata are always played at 3 because those are the most important cards in the deck, bar none. That is what gets you your combo pieces. That's what searches Black Feather Whirlwind. That's what searches Sudri, or not Sudri searches for Vata, searches for Shamal, searches for whatever. So here you go. For the next 2, you've got 2 Shamals. You can play 3 if you want. I think 2 is perfect for this build, honestly, just because 2 works with the deck. And, you got a lot of hand traps in here, so you have to kind of like cram whatever you can. And then for the one-ups, you got 1 Zonda, Zephyros the Elite, Gale the Whirlwind, never taking this boy out, Hamart in the Dust, Sharnga, and then your Chinook. So you've got your 6 one-of Blackwings in here. Obviously, all these are really good. Zonda is good because in the event you do open with just Sudri and you were only able to do 1 card combo with Sudri, Sudri is very beneficial because it'll allow you to at least set up somewhat of a field that can at least do something. You got Burn, you'll have Dissipator, you'll have Blackwing Assault Dragon, you'll have Boreas Storm with Chinook Sharnga in the grave. So you do have options. So all right, so those are going to be for the one-ups of the Blackwings. And then obviously we got our Blackwing member over here. We got our one guy of Assault Synchron, honorary Blackwing. Obviously, he's really good. And the fact that he's a bird is even cooler. He's riding a little mecha airplane. That's really badass. All right, then that's it for the Blackwings. Now we're going to move on to the spells and traps. So obviously, you got 2 Black Whirlwinds and 1 Black Feather Whirlwind. Once again, if you wanted to play this at 2, you could play this at 2, bump this up to 3. If you're being more casual and you want to just play, with your friends and you're not worried about going to tournaments and locals or whatever you choose that actually works for you, I will never tell you right or wrong ratios per se. I will just give you an insight. I'll give you kind of a thought, and then from there, you can choose on whether or not you would like to add something or take something out. So obviously, this may not always be for everybody. If you choose and you think that Black Feather Whirlwind at 2 is much better and more of a preference that you would prefer, that is totally something you can do. Same thing with Black Whirlwind. Black Whirlwind, if you find out that you only need 3 or you need 3 instead of 2 to get that extra search, that is entirely up to you, and you can totally do that because that's the good thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is that you can be really, really creative with your builds, especially when you're having a lot of fun. And if you're playing with your friends, it doesn't matter what you have. You can throw whatever you feel like that you want in there, and it is totally okay. That's pretty much how I play, which is what I'm going to be getting into at the end of the video. So then we've got 3 copies of your Small World. This is the Quarter Century Secret Rare, as you can see. This is really good to search because with Mulch Army and everything going on right now, you want to be able to use the Small World to bridge and search for Droll and Lockbird, because Droll and Lockbird is going to completely stop them from drawing anything that you can get, and that's more beneficial to you. You want to make sure that you can do that because you do not want your opponent going nuts with it. That is a very big problematic card right now, especially with Dominus Impulse, but Mulch Army so much so because it's basically a maxi. And then we've got 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity, and then 1 copy of Twin Shadow. Twin Shadow, I love this card. This card is so good because it allows you to go into Silverwind, go into Blackwing Full Armor Master, and allows you to actually do some good plays. That's why I love keeping this. I know people have taken this out by now, but there are still some of us really, really hardcore Blackwing players that love playing this, and this is no exception. I think it's really, really good, and it really works with the deck. All right, so now we're going to move on to the Bystial lineup. So you've got 2 Bystial Libellions. If you choose one or 3, that is completely up to you. I like using 2 because I think it's the perfect number, and you do kind of want to see this guy, just not as often with his effect, because he's discards himself, adds a Bystial monster from your deck to your hand, and then also you can activate his effect. You can tribute a monster on the field to special summon this card from the graveyard, and then after you do that, you can actually search for Branded Regain, and this will allow you to get an extra draw, and also, it's a really good card, and it works really well with the deck. And then we've got the other 3. We've got Magna Hut, Druid Swarm, and Sornier. So these are your honorary. These are going to be your extra Bystials that you're going to be playing. All pretty, for the most part, standard. It's just a small Bystial package, but it's still very, very good. And then you've got your Branded Regain. This allows you to draw an extra card. Also is really, really good to go in for the deck to be able to search for. So that's going to be it for the main deck. Now we're going to move on to the hand traps. So obviously you've got 3 Ash Blossoms. I've got 2 Effect Veiler and 1 Droll. Now, the reason I've got 1 Droll is this is strictly in here for Mulch Army. This is what you're going to be using to kind of stop them from continuing to draw a card. And 2 Effect Veilers, obviously, if you have your own Mulch Army or Dominus Impulse, you can take these out. This is more of like a budget option, right? What do I have right here? Because honestly, I don't have the funds to pay, $750 for 6 cards. So, I'm going to have to go with what's optional. And this is still really, really good. Effect Veiler can stop your opponent from activating a monster effect on their turn when it's their first turn. And then Droll and Lockbird will stop them. Obviously, Ash stops them from searching. And then you have 3 Imperm. Obviously, 3 Imperm is also important because it's a good way to kind of negate that monster's effect. It's a hand trap, essentially, because it is a trap, and you can activate it from the hand on your opponent's turn if you control no cards, which is really good. So that's going to be it for the main deck. It's really, really strong. So now we're going to move on to the extra deck. So the extra deck, you've got 2 copies of Blackwing Assault Dragon. I bumped this down to 2 because now in today's format especially, it's really not necessary to have 3. If you want 3, you can still have your 3 Blackwing Assault Dragons. I just chose to knock it down because I need a deck space, and also because I'm noticing I'd never go into the third one as often anymore. And then we've got 2 copies of the new, incredibly nice looking, for the most part, really nice Blackwing Dragon, a Quarter Century Secret Rare. Thank you, Konami, for reprinting this, allowing me to get this. I wanted Ghost Rare, but this is the next best thing. And then we have 2 copies of Blackwing Full Armor Master. Now, I've got 2 of these in here because since I am running 2 Libellions, having 2 of these and then Chaos Angel, when you use Libellion as a material, is just nuts because it's unaffected by card effects. They can't be destroyed by battle. It's crazy. So I like having 2 in here, but obviously I may swap this out in another card for Arc Rebellion or another Boreas Storm, depending on how the meta changes and how I see fit that it would be. But for right now, I've got 2 of these bad boys in here. And then obviously you've got your 1 Blackwing Armor Master. That's my boy right here. Love this guy. Always will always have him in the deck. Never want to take him out. And then we have Silverwind the Ascendant. Obviously, you got your Silverwind. This is a good pop, especially with Twin Shadow, because your opponent will not see this coming. You activate Twin Shadow. They don't have a response to it. You can send back 2 cards to the extra deck, special, or back to the deck to special summon this, and then he activates his effect, and this pops 2 cards that have defense lower than this card's attack, which is 2800, which that's pretty much most cards that are going to be played. So really good because it's a great kind of quick effect and messes up your opponent, and it works overall. Just remember for the timing. This would have to be first in order for you to do. Otherwise, you'll miss the timing and you won't get to activate the effect. And then you have your one Nothumb and Boreas Storm, the Wicked Wind. This is all pretty standard. Like I said, just keep in mind that when you're playing with this kind of deck, just focus on what's going to be working for you. Obviously, for me, I'm choosing to only run 1 Boreas Storm, but if you find it necessary that you need to have that second one in there, you can take out Full Armor Master, one of them for it. That way you at least have those 2 in case you get Nibiru'd or, whatever have you. And then you've got 1 Bystial Dissipator, 1 Chaos Angel, 1 Draco Berserker. These are all standard for the deck. This is kind of good for an interruption. This is really good, but this is more of going second. I would not really play this first unless I really had to or use it for something, but for the most part, you're not going to be using this going first. This is more of a going second, and then Dissipator is just really good, and I just find it hilarious that Blackwings are one of the very, very few consistent decks that can summon this like all the time. So I always find that really funny. And then obviously Ystrix and SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight in here is very affordable now that the Rarity Collection Bonanza has come out. So I was kind of a sucker. I didn't know that SP Little Knight was going to be in the Rarity Collection because, haha, obviously if you're in the 10, you're not going to think it's going to be in there literally a month later, if that. But yet they did. So I paid $40 for my SP Little Knight and then seen them about like 3 weeks later on the market for like less than 20. So yeah, but to each their own, you live and you learn. So can't really help with that, but I did try. But yep. All right, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoy it. This deck is so fun. I love the incorporation of Bystials. Bystials really have taken this deck to the next level in terms of the consistency, in terms of all the interruptions that you can do. And even though we don't have Baron or we don't have Red Hot Abyss in here, which you notice that I didn't have Red Hot Abyss, and even if we don't have a lot of so-called Omni Negates, that's okay because this deck has enough interruptions to go through a lot of cards. And nowadays, you need cards like a Dark Ruler No More in like the side deck in order for you to actually stop Yubel and stuff from playing, because there's just so much stuff going on right now. This game is incredibly fast, but I still really enjoy it. So with that being said, the reason that I took a very long break was I started feeling that I think it was time to quote unquote slow down my interactions with this game. And what I mean by that is, since I've been playing this game for so long, I'm not getting any younger. And as I get older, I'm realizing I'm enjoying more of the casual aspect, more of the fun aspect. And I still love having semi-competitive built decks, especially Blackwings, because this is my main deck. I will never, if I have to take any deck with me, it's always going to be this deck. And if I only could ever play one deck for the rest of my life, obviously it would be, the Bird Boys right here. But I felt like I needed some time to kind of break up a little bit. I needed some cooldown, and realizing that as I'm getting older, I'm enjoying more of the casual side. So I'm kind of passing the torch and stepping aside, so to speak, for the younger crowd, the people who are going to keep this game going and keeping it alive. Because, people like me, boomers, old dinosaurs, old farts that are still playing this game, we're not going to be the ones that's going to be keeping this game going. It's going to always be the younger audience, the younger generation and stuff that are going to continue to play this game. So I felt like it was necessary to kind of take a step down and just, kind of enjoy this more of just friendly casual level, which I do plan on always showcasing on the decks. I have a lot more deck profiles coming because I've been able to get more cards for it. So I'm going to be having my 2 other Blackwing decks, Kali Yuga and then my pure Blackwing. I've got my Red Eyes deck that's been updated, and I've got my DDD deck that's been updated. I'm also going to be doing a new Harpy deck profile because I did have 1 or 2 people actually ask for that. So I will be doing that in the near future. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for sticking around, and everybody that is still here. It has meant so much to me. You guys are awesome, and I would not be here if it was not for you. So from the bottom of my heart, once again and for always, I will say thank you. You guys rock. You know, I have always stayed in touch with anybody that has had comments, who's commented on my channel and on my videos. So I've always tried to make sure that I've kept in contact, and I'm always on YouTube. I'm always on my phone. I'm always on YouTube or on my computer and stuff because I just generally like going there and looking at deck profiles, watching games, watching just reviews of stuff. So yeah, it's just always something that I'm always doing. So that's why I'm always going to be on here. So when I was gone, I wasn't gone per se. I just wasn't uploading videos, and I was taking a cool down period, but I was still technically on YouTube and looking up profiles and everything. So, all right. So with that, thank you guys so much. I've rambled on enough. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Later.